Less is more in AI, especially at the edge. Some LLMs will be on device handling simple tasks that are not required by large frontier models. Tiny language models are optimal for laptops, phones, and even Raspberry Pi, and some of the biggest tech companies are making some of the smallest language models. Meta, Apple, and Facebook are all contributing to this. You've got Apple and Meta who made some very tiny language models that are 1 billion parameters or smaller in the millions of parameters. Also, Microsoft made a system for 1-bit quantization, usually quantizing or compressing language models so that they run more efficiently on less powerful hardware is 4-bit, 6-bit, or 8-bit quantization. In this case, Microsoft came up with a way to make 1-bit quantization. I've found 7 different models like this. Let's go down the list. First up is Meta Llama 3.2 1B Instruct. This is an Instruct fine-tune model by Meta that has 1 billion parameters, and it's a chat model. There's also the Bartowski version that's quantized, so it will run even more efficiently, and this quantized version does not require you to sign into Hugging Face to get it like the Meta version. If you've been following me on here for a while, you know about this Hugging Face user, the bloke. He made uncensored, quantized versions of different popular language models, and he kind of just faded out. I heard rumors that maybe he got a job somewhere or whatever, but in case you were wondering what happened to him and you're looking for someone else who's doing uncensored fine-tunes, just a side note here, check out Bartowski on Hugging Face. As one person I know on X put it, he's the new bloke. Next up, and this is interesting to me, that under the name Facebook on Hugging Face, they released a mobile LLM 1B that's designed to be experimental to go on phones. Now, usually they release AIs under the name Meta or Meta AI. In this case, they released it under the name Facebook, which is a little curious and I'm not sure why. Apple has also made some on-device small LLMs, which only makes sense because their new iPhone has a neural processing unit built into it. In this case, they've made OpenELM, which is a 1 billion parameter Instruct model, Instruct meaning it's fine-tuned to be a chat model. This one actually has over 1 million downloads, which for Hugging Face is insane. Apple also has 2 variations of OpenELM. One of them is 450 million parameters in its Instruct. I can't even imagine how you chat with something that's only 450 million parameters, but I'm going to test that a little later in the video. They also made a 270 million parameter version, then I'm going to use the same prompt to test that one. And finally is BitNet, made by 1-bit LLM. This is based on a research paper by Microsoft, how to quantize a model down to 1 bit with minimal quality loss. The Neural Processing Unit, or NPU, is at the heart of the AI revolution. Let's break down how some of the biggest tech players are integrating this hardware into their devices. Take Apple, for example. Their neural engine, found in every A-series and M-series chip, powers features like Face ID, Siri, and photo enhancements, all directly on device. Qualcomm's Hexagon NPU does the same in Snapdragon processors, enabling everything from better gaming to on-device generative AI. Then, there's laptops. Brands like MSI and Asus have upped the ante, integrating NPUs into models like the MSI Pulse 17 AI and the Asus ZenBook Duo 2024. NPUs can add horsepower to gaming, productivity, creative workflows, and be used for things like text generation. Whether it's smartphones, laptops, or tablets, NPUs are making AI faster, smarter, and more efficient right on the device. This matters because smaller, more efficient LLMs, like Mobile LLM or OpenELM, are specifically designed to take advantage of this local AI processing power. This is what's coming from hardware manufacturers. More and more NPUs are going to be built into more and more end-user devices. Instead of doing my usual LLM test kit, I'm going to take one prompt and feed that same one into all these models so we can compare them. First up is going to be Llama 3.2 1B Instruct. For this quantized version of Llama 3.2 1B from Bartowski, I'm going to use the Q8 Quant. We're in chat Instruct mode, and our first prompt is going to be write a report about open source AI. I'll just leave this up on the screen for you to read. You can be the judge of it. What I'm looking for is its ability to understand what topic I asked it to write a report about, and also that its language and wording is cohesive and coherent, that it has good natural writing ability. Now I'm trying Apple's OpenELM 1B Instruct. Running this one does require a Hugging Face token and being logged into Hugging Face so that you can access the Llama tokenizer. To use the tokenizer, you have to fill out this form and give Meta your personal information and be signed into Hugging Face through a token. So this model is not entirely private. I signed up, but it says I have to wait to hear back if I get approval or not. So it looks like I'm going to have to take a break from recording right now, and I'll be back to check in. After about 10 minutes, I got my access. I made a little bit of Python code. I put my Hugging Face token in. I loaded the model, and I also made sure to load the tokenizer. And I told it the same prompt with the same number of max tokens and also the same temperature as the first test. With the same prompt, write a report about open source AI research. It looks like it's pretty good, cohesive writing style, but it's like, for some reason, they picked writing about OpenAI's GPT-3. They're not like really known for that. That was the 1B version. Now I'll quickly run the same prompt up against the 450M version and the 270M version and see how they compare. The one with 450 million parameters just kind of like spat out this report that was a lot of references to things, and then it just sort of stopped. I think this might be like a really long report with just a lot of references to URLs if I had let it go with a bigger number of max tokens. Or, maybe there'd be some report underneath that. I don't know. You know what? I'm just going to crank up the max tokens and see. Even with increasing the number of max tokens, it was still the exact same thing. It was just a little bit of paragraph up at the top and then a bunch of links and references. The little 270 million parameter one didn't really write a report. It almost did really more like a text completion where I told it write a report about open source AI, and then it continued on saying, I'm looking for a report on an open source project I've been working on, and I'd really appreciate some input. The 450 million parameter version kind of wigged out on me here when I asked it to give me a brief history of the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to take a different approach to this. On the website, it actually has these instructions for the 450M parameter version to use their script that was built in to the files here. Highlighted here is the command that I had to run. The prompt goes right here. Once upon a time there was a, and it filled it in. Once upon a time there was a little boy named Peter. His father John loved him dearly, so on and so forth. And the 270 million parameter version gave basically the same thing. The 450M and the 270M seem to operate more like text completion, but they're still pretty good for little tiny models. We've covered small language models that are 1 billion parameters and smaller. Not every problem needs to be solved with a big AI system. You don't fight ants with nukes. Some problems can be solved at the edge with a small amount of compute using smaller models. I also figured out for those little Apple models, it was better to run the code they provided than my own, but that's probably just a skill issue because I'm new at coding. If you're new to this channel, I test, curate, and make tutorials about open source AI technology. I don't do AI for a living, but I'm an early adopter and end user, and a year ago already started incorporating it into my everyday life and my work. I just figure this is the future, it's where things are headed, so I got a head start now. You can also follow me on X for early access to what I'm making videos about and to expand the discussion out from here, so I cover other topics there that you might not see in this channel, so you get exclusive content. If you found value in this, please click the like button. If you like what I described before that this channel is about, go ahead and hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I make a new video, hit the notification bell. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.